because it's a very mixed scenario. In 2018, March 2018, when Uhuru and Raila came together to shake hands, it was necessary that they do that because both were hurting. They were hurting, and Kenya was hurting. You know, so that those were the realities. And some sort of stalemate. And yes, Uhuru's Big Four agenda was going nowhere. Because Raila had made it impossible for it to be done. And there was a question, what do you do now? And Raila's supporters, particularly foreign supporters, were also complaining, things are not going well. So both sides were under a lot of pressure to come together and cool the temperatures, which they did. So the handshake was very good in that. What happened after that is another matter, because this handshake then transformed itself into something else, to some sort of a political movement, underground political movement, which is now maturing into the Azimio thing. I think some times ago I wrote down in one of my articles, this is likely to be a different political creation. These going through the BBI and other things. You have the Jubilee and the ODM now, and this is likely to become a political outfit, which I think it has come to be now. So along the way, yes, there were some questions about this. At that time, Uhuru had never said he does not want to support Ruto at the time. He had also not come out and said, I'm endorsing Raila for anything until recently. Yes, we could read signs from some of his supposed close people, Wandani wake, like Murathe. And sometimes you wonder whether at all he's part of the Wandani. Because they say things and you shake your head, but they said them and they have not been denied. So you say, okay. But now, in the last few months, the two men, the president and his deputy, have come out very clearly being on opposite sides. You know, and it will be, but you can never say never in politics. That maybe 2 months before the election, Uhuru might say, but I never said I don't support Ruto. You know, but so far, that statement from Mombasa, where he talks about working with Baba continuously, I mean, you don't need any more than that. And since it is clear that the Azimio program is almost a joint effort between Raila and the president. And so it is an indication that way. So I don't think Raila is being played, because that was the question. Is he being played? I don't think so. I think Uhuru is sincere about this thing. Now, the first question you raised is still valid. Exactly what happened between these two men.
Prof, could you by any chance have an idea what really happened between the president?
I wish I knew. I've been asking that question to some people. And many of them don't want to get into it. Some speculate and say, you know, sijui walikosania nini. And you listen to politicians, you can just start laughing because of the excuses they give. It is a very tricky situation. Exactly what happened between the two men, who initially appeared like Siamese twins, political Siamese twins. And then something went wrong, deep wrong. And that remains for historians in future to dig deep into it, because there are some things that will come out to explain what happened. So I don't know what happened. I wish I knew.
And earlier on, Prof, you're saying something about the voter register and the numbers, and how they're not matching as compared to the numbers that we had in 2017. What then could have happened? Prof, in this? Why are we seeing these issues with the voter register? Because we understand the voter register is actually a very emotive issue when it comes to elections in this country. So what can the IEBC do right this time around to ensure that we don't have issues about the voter register moving forward?
Well, I think they've done whatever they can. Give them IBC credit. And I think my problem with the register is not so much 2017 or 2013. It's 2007. That's what the problem was. That's what numbers, dead people were registered as voters. And we have evidence of that. And because when I raised the issue of 2007, how numbers went down in 2013, 2012, from what they were in 2007. And we had not had reports of massive death. Half a million people or 500,000 people just disappearing. Voters, not just people, but disappearing in the thin air. What had happened was in 2007, there was no proper checkup of the register. So numbers were put in places where they did not exist. Now in 2012, we had that biometric thing. So now it's hard for dead people to come and register. And they have fingerprints. So since the dead people could not put their fingerprints, they were not recorded, which in my view explains why in some places the numbers went down drastically. Now, the same thing was maintained in 2017 because you could see there really were not big problems. And now 2022, the concern now is not whether the figures are wrong, is that they are not as high. People are not enthusiastic. That's the concern now. Why did 7 to 8 or 6 to 8 million eligible young people fail
to register?
That's the main concern, not whether the figures are correct, because we have these biometrics. And that's why they're going to clean up now to remove the dead people, because some people have died. Or they are incapacitated in one way or another. So once we clean up that, I think the register is not an issue, unless somebody can show evidence of tampering, which I don't think that's happening. But before 2007, that was a different matter.